Yes, thanks for staying with us on the Sports Show. Now, Poppy, our next guest is an Australian champion, but before we go to it, I just want to ask you if you know the sport pétanque.
I do know the sport pétanque.
What do you know about it?
Well, I know that you can drink while you play it, and any sport that you can drink while playing it, I'm not bad at.
Well, you won't be playing in this one, Poppy, because it's going to be the Trans-Tasman Cup. Just for our viewers, though, I looked this up. Pétanque is a form of bowls where the goal is to toss or roll hollow steel balls as close as possible to a small wooden ball called a cochonnet while standing inside a circle with both feet on the ground. Our guest, who's been good enough to come in, Debbie Rodda, is a champion of it. Deb, how are you?
Good, thank you.
What was his pronunciation like?
No good.
No,
it's cochonnet.
Cochonnet. Well, I'm not French.
Well, you're not, but even your Australian's half dodgy. You know what? It's a great sport though. It's really good, and I likened it ignorantly to bowls because I love the bocce bowls.
Yeah.
But it's a different game altogether.
Yes. The bocce, throw underarm.
Yep.
And
pétanque.
You throw up in the air and land it.
Okay, and is there the same requirements as Smythe quite correctly pointed out about being in that circle? Okay.
Yes.
Because that's a game that I think Aussies love to play on a Sunday afternoon in the parklands or something like that, isn't it? Yes. So how did you take it from that social part to all of a sudden being an Australian champion? How does that work?
Oh, it takes a long time actually. But we just played socially, and then our club entered the State League in South Australia and played in that competition, got selected for state teams, and then got selected to represent Australia.
Fantastic.
So Deb, your club, or South Australia, had to apply to get the Trans-Tasman Cup here to play in. How did that process go?
Pétanque Australia put out a memo asking any clubs to nominate to host the championships. We put in a nomination and it was successful. And it's the first time it's been held in South Australia ever. You
know what, we do it pretty well, and sometimes we're our own worst critic, but everything that we seem to get an opportunity at in South Australia probably helps the next sport coming along, Smythe, doesn't it? There's been so many great examples. But how do our pétanque, what do we call them, pitches? What do we call them?
Pistes.
I thought she's for me.
Pistes.
Okay, so how do they stand up on a national scale?
They vary greatly. It's all a gravel of varying thicknesses, depths and sizes.
And our facilities, though, on a national scale, obviously stand up to be awarded the Trans-Tasman.
Yes, because we are the only pétanque club in Australia that has the number of pistes under lights and the facilities
that we have.
Eastern Suburbs, which is at Unley Park Sports Club, Northgate Street.
Tell us a little bit about Australia and New Zealand. Obviously, they have great rivalries. It doesn't matter what it comes down to in the end. So we know there's going to be a pretty solid rivalry.
Yeah.
The big names from Australia, big names from New Zealand. If I was coming to watch on the 18th or the 19th, who do I want to come and see?
You want to come and barrack for Australia?
Of course, we're barracking for Australia. We know that.
I'm not quite 100% sure who the best players are, but they are very strong. They have the upper hand on us.
Is that right?
In the over 60s, we have beaten them, and in the under 60s that I played in, we have never beaten them. We've come close, but never beaten them.
You know, so many sports, it's all about pace or strength, or if it's cricket, it's about batting or bowling ability. Even about lawn bowls, it's about reading the speed of the greens. What are these elements that make pétanque? Are you a good pétanque player?
Well, it's on rocks, so you've got to flight the ball and land it, because if you let it roll, the balls can hit the ground and go that way, that way, that way.
Okay, so it's all about elevation, and where it lands is where you want it to stay, almost. Is that right? And I guess with that trajectory, the higher... See, I'm working this out. I tell you, I could be a chance at this game. I'm serious.
You'll be in the over 60s.
Well, I'm getting close. I've got to tell you.
The words that come to mind is no chance. But, Deb, so then the elements can play some part of it. So the wind is so that's a factor in judging?
A little bit, not so much. It's the surface, depending on the surface. Some are real thin, so they're light hard.
Yes.
So the surface we'll be playing on would be described how?
We've got varying ones to trick them.
Is that right?
Just like the Indian cricket team now, isn't it?
You've got a home piece advantage.
We
Is
have.
that what you say? It's. I would have thought that it would be a consistent and a required consistently, and it's not. Okay.
No,
Fair
they
enough.
just
So-
have to be a required width and
Yes.
length. But anyone can have whatever they want on their surfaces.
Okay, so your surface, is it one that people desire to play on, or not necessarily so?
Yes, no, we like them.
Yeah, you like them. Okay.
We
And
made
what-
them, so we like them.
Well, that's okay. And but what, if you played in New Zealand, what would you expect to be faced with?
They play on less gravel
Okay,
because they like to do the rolling stuff.
the rolling stuff. Okay, fair enough.
How much time have you had to practice, Deb? You know, so you've got the ground set. Has there been a good opportunity to prepare the team
Well,
leading
it's
in?
my home club, so I play there 2 or 3 times a week.
Yep. So big advantage for
And
you.
for training for this event, we trained 3 days a week with our coach, our club coach, who's an Australian coach as well, in our own time to add to our practice level and skills.
What are the different skills required? Singles, say v doubles. How does that work? Have you got a strong player that tries to get closest to the, what do you call it?
It's
Yeah,
called
come
a
on.
pointer.
A pointer. If you,
Someone points,
yes.
and then there's a shooter.
Yep.
So if the opposition put a ball next to the cautionnet,
Yes.
your shooter steps in and tries to carrow it out.
Yes, and so that's not so much about the height then, is it?
No.
It's about the accuracy. Okay.
That's accuracy.
Okay, fair
And
enough.
you've got to hit it full on.
Yep.
If it hits it full on, it will knock the ball out.
And yours
it's
should
called
stay
a
there.
Carrow.
See?
Okay, so 1910,
This is great.
the game evolved. It's massive in France. That's the biggest place in the world. Over 300,000 people play there. You were saying before we came on air that it's starting to get huge in Asia now.
Yes.
Is it starting to expand inside Australia?
It's expanding. It's slowly expanding, but it's getting there. We now have 8 clubs in South Australia.
Okay. You know, lawn bowls.
Smallest of, except for Tasmania and Canberra, we're the
Okay.
smallest.
But you know, we have lawn bowls participants in here quite regularly, and the intriguing thing about lawn bowls over the last decade has been the amount of young people getting through. Is that the same with your sport or not?
We have the French School Association Pétanque tournament every year at our club to encourage primary and high school kids to play, and they come out every year and have a tournament at our club
Great.
to bring them into the sport.
All right, Deb, we appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, well,
18th, 19th of March, that's this weekend, of
Yep.
course, the Trans-Tasman Challenge at Unley Sports Club. You need to go down and have a look. It's a great game. Northgate
I
Street.
tell you what, that's a really expensive piece of property down there. You know Northgate Street, Unley Park?
Yes.
These people would be loaded, I can tell you. Loaded.
good.
And if
Yes.
anybody wants to come, we're holding a come and try on the Wednesday the 29th of March,
Okay, good one.
Wednesday the
I'll be
29th
there.
of March.
sponsored
Stay-
by the Unley Council.
Good one.
Good
Very
luck, Deb. Stay with us. Still plenty to come on the show.